And this is the video where he breaks down his makeup look that he did on Meghan for Paris Fashion Week. Let's take a look-see, shall we? And again, there's such a thing as fresh, luminous skin, and then there's overdoing it. And there's really no excuse, in my humble opinion, for the amount of shine that that woman had on her face. Just the fact that she's willing to do that shows you that she is so hungry for attention. It's diabolical. The way that just attention gives this woman narcissistic fuel, that is evil. That is such a distorted focus on the self that speaks to the fact that she's so self-absorbed that she doesn't have any energy to put anything out in the world other than that. All she is focused on is herself and our reactions to her. But let's not give her the type of attention that she wants. Let's look at what she's doing and point it out for what it is. Demented, dark, misguided, and just foolishness. Utter foolishness. Hey guys, I'm Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. So let's just get right into it. You guys are not having it. The public is absolutely not having it. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the little publicity stunt that Meghan Markle tried to pull off when she appeared at the Balenciaga fashion show for Paris Fashion Week. The public's reaction to this little stunt has been overwhelmingly negative, and rightly so. The response in my comment section that I received from you guys who were in agreement with me watching this woman carry on like a ghoul at the Balenciaga fashion show, you agreed with me that it all felt very dark energy to you. I personally said that I felt it was demonic. So many of you echoed that sentiment in your comments. I'm gonna read some of the best comments that I got from you guys. It really does restore my faith in humanity that so many of you are watching this woman, looking at it and saying, no, absolutely not. We do not like this. We do not support this. This is wrong. And why is it wrong? Well, for so many reasons. Just the fact that she's showing up promoting that controversial brand Balenciaga in the first place when they were embroiled in that disgusting scandal where they were using children and just perverse sexual imagery in some of their advertising campaigns, that in of itself is gross. And I go into all of that in my last video where I talked about this. I'll put it somewhere here or in the description, but that in of itself is disgusting enough. And I really don't care that the brand apologized. And initially though, they tried to throw the photographer for the campaign under the bus, which to me is despicable because there's at so many levels that has to be approved. So for them to do that tells you right there that, in my opinion, they're disingenuous. Just the fact that that was okayed in the first place is beyond disgusting. So that's the first reason that everyone is so upset in the public, is that we don't stand by the fact that a member of the British royal family, and yes, as much as we hate to say it, she still is a member. It's not like she's not going around throwing that title around everywhere she goes. So she still somewhat is a representative of the royal family going around promoting a brand like that. You would never catch William or Catherine doing anything like that. So that's the first thing why we're so upset. Second reason is, what is with this whole I'm a model now, this whole posed and posturing demeanor that she's putting forth in this whole appearance? It just rings very scary, very hollow. I go into it in that video. I was watching that woman and there's something going on in those eyes that to me is very dark. That whole demeanor just did not sit well with so many of us. It was like a gut, visceral reaction. Like, what are we watching here? This does not look good. And it's really crazy because I recorded a video the other day that I'm still editing. I haven't posted it yet, but I'm talking in that video about what seems like the demise of her as ever brand. And this was even before she pulled this little publicity stunt in Paris. I had recorded it about a day before that. But I was talking about how the brand seems to be failing. And the reason why is because this woman is constantly trying to shift her persona and her personality and her narrative at any given point in her life to try to gain points. It's just, she's this ever evolving chameleon. And to me, she seems like a shapeshifter. But I was just talking about how that brand is just so hollow and it doesn't ring true. And now to see her show up at Paris Fashion Week, basically trying to act like a high fashion model with all these fake posturing. And does that gel with the Montecito mama that's packing her kids' lunches every day persona that she's trying to force down our throats for as ever? No, it doesn't. So to me, it's like I watched her whole time in Paris Fashion Week thinking, how does she think that this gels with the as ever aesthetic? It doesn't. It doesn't. So to me, I think that she's trying to divorce herself from that whole as ever. And this is now her moving into her new era where maybe she's, high fashion, just ultra sophisticated type of jet setter, which we all don't buy. We all know it's a fake persona. So there's that. So it's the association with that brand. It's her whole fake persona that she's now trying to peddle. And I go into her appearance and her makeup in that video, and we're going to touch upon it a little bit in this video as well. Because in the first video, I was talking about how her face to me is so overwhelmingly shiny. I said, in my opinion, that I felt her makeup artist used just much too much highlighter, way too much luminizer. She was just shining like a disco ball to the point that at certain camera angles, when you watch her and see her, she looks almost sweaty. And I go into all of that as to why that's not a good look for a mature woman like Meghan. So go check that out if you haven't. But we're going to touch upon it again a little bit in this video because her makeup artist, Daniel Martin, has now spoken out, and now it is indeed known that he did do that look for her. He was, I guess, on her Instagram stories, she was showing him as part of her glam squad before she went out and got made up. He did the makeup and he's come out and talked about what he did for that makeup. So just for fun, and because you may or may not know, I'm an esthetician and a makeup artist, have been for over 20 years. So I love watching stuff like that to get other makeup artists' perspective as to what they use, how they work, their reasoning behind all of it. And I will give you my hot and juicy take on what I feel about that coming up. But yeah, okay. So it's just, there's just so much. But more than anything else, the fact that she posted that video of her feet up in that car riding at night in the streets of Paris. And so many people have come out and spoken out against it, saying it was incredibly disrespectful and insensitive to not only the public who really adored Princess Diana, but to her own husband. But just the fact that she's going to post a video of her going through the streets in Paris at night, very, very close to the tunnel where Princess Diana perished, it's unbelievably grotesque and insensitive. So yeah, taking all three of those things, supporting that brand, this fake persona, and that insensitive Paris at night whizzing by in the street video, no one's buying it. We are not buying it. We see it for what it is, dark and demented. So yeah, just so much to talk about. Also, we're going to talk about in my comment section, I cannot tell you how many comments you guys are writing about how she's not 44, she's not 44, she's 50, she's 51. Because in the video I said, I'm 51, I'm a mature woman, this is what I think about her makeup, and she's 44 and all that. And you guys were like, she's not 44, she's not 44, she's 50, she's 50. Thomas Markle has come out and said that she's 50. I did a little research on that. I'm going to talk about that too. And then you guys were you guys make me laugh. So many comments were telling me there's no way I'm 51. There's no way I'm 51. I am indeed 51 years old, you guys. I was born in March in 1974. I am 51. You're very sweet to tell me that I do not look 51. I am a licensed esthetician and a makeup artist. I do have beauty videos on my channel. I'll go into a little bit on that later on in the video because a lot of you guys are just so unbelievably sweet asking me, oh my gosh, what do you use on your skin? I've gotten emails from you guys saying, hey, I'm in my 50s. Hey, I'm in my 60s. My skin's been a problem for me my whole life. What are you doing? You guys asking me for skincare advice, different things like that. I'll get into that a little bit later on in the video, but I do have skincare videos on this channel. I do have makeup videos on this channel. They're in the playlists. Yeah, you guys are very, very sweet. But yes, I am 51. I'm not in my 30s. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm 51, okay? So keeping with the topic of beauty in this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about the video that Daniel Martin, who is Meghan's makeup artist, posted after Paris Fashion Week, where he describes the products and the technique that he used for her luminous look. To me, it wasn't luminous. To me, it looked sweaty and overdone, and something that I firmly believe that mature women should not do with their makeup. Yes, a certain amount of highlighting and luminosity to the skin gives a nice youthful and shiny look. I personally don't like an overly matte face. I do like a face that has a little bit of luminosity, but there's youthful luminosity and then there's just looking like you're sweaty and you need to take a shower. So Daniel Martin, and you guys may or may not know about Daniel Martin. He's featured in both seasons of With Love, Meghan. I've only watched 2 episodes of season 2. But in the first episode of season 2, Daniel Martin is featured, and there's a scene where Daniel is powdering Meghan's face with a little puff or sponge, and it shows Meghan trying to be cutesy, taking the sponge from Daniel and powder his face in return. But what she does right before she does it is she takes the sponge or puff and she blows on it. Like she goes before she turns it around and starts blotting his face. Way back when I went to makeup artistry school in California, that was one of the very first things that I remember our instructor saying to us is when you are working on someone, basic hygiene, all tools need to be 100% clean, pristine, all of it. The brushes should be clean and immaculate. All sponges and puffs should be either brand new or washed, like really, really washed. And normally makeup artists, especially if they work on a certain celebrity over and over, they'll have a kit just for that said celebrity and all of that. A lot of us, for example, when we're at home making up ourselves, if we're using a brush or we're doing something, sometimes we, blow on a brush before we apply. That is something that if you do that, you only do that to yourself when you are putting your own makeup on. You would never in a million years blow on a sponge or a puff or a brush and then proceed to turn it around and touch someone's face. That is akin to spitting in someone's face. All of your spittle, bacteria, all that is now on that applicator and is now being put on someone's face. So that to me was so unbelievably disgusting when I saw Meghan do that. And I'm not gonna show that scene because Netflix is absolutely 100% crazed. They just copyright the heck out of anyone that tries to do even like a smidgen of a scene. I just basically show you a little shot there, but it's just absolutely gross. But for those of you who don't really know about Daniel Martin, so he's her makeup artist. Apparently he's been with her for a very long time before she even married into the royal family. And I came across a little gem of a video, him talking about his friendship with Meghan and the backlash that she receives in the press. So let's watch this little gem, shall we? This was from a podcast called Los Angeles, and this was recorded back in July of 2025. So check it out.
It's jealousy, it's racism, it's envy.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, bring it.
Right.
And it's funny, for the longest time, a lot of us who are close to her, we didn't know how to navigate all of this. And when the show came out, I think for me, I was like, you know what? If you can't see a friendship that she has with these people on the show, that's on you.
Yeah. Fine. It's on me. And so many of us are so sick of that whole you're a racist narrative if you don't like her and you don't agree with what she does and how she conducts herself. That is such an old tune, and it's really amazing to me that people in her camp are still singing that tune. And I have another video from 2019, shortly after Archie was born. This was on a special that Gayle King did, and I think it was called something like Harry and Meghan +1 or something, because it was, again, right after Archie was born. And, this was even before the Oprah interview. Meghan and her camp were trying to push the poor me, I'm the victim narrative. Everyone hates me for no good reason. So check out this little gem. This one aged like a fine wine, I gotta say. Okay, so I decided against showing the footage. It's from the CBS News YouTube channel. These channels are notorious for copyright striking everything. Suffice to say, he goes on crying, saying, "You hear these stories, there's no truth to them. And I know her so well, and I know she doesn't deserve all this negative press." And then he's talking about how wonderful she is. And, there's going to be so much love for Archie, and she loves cooking, and she's even going to make baby food for him. And it's all just so dramatic and just, yeah, whatevs. So yeah, this is the same man that in 2019 was crying about his beloved friend Meghan because she didn't deserve all the negative press. So even back in 2019, everything was starting. The avalanche was starting. And then just wait until they left the family, the despicable and just callous way that they left the family. And now fast forward to 2025. But yeah, just to see now in 2025 when he's still trying to champion that same old tired narrative that all of us that don't like her are just horrible, rotten, racist people, whatever. So I'm not going to get too much into this guy. He apparently really, really loves Meghan, and he's very fond of shouting from the rooftops how close they are and how, what a generous, sweet, loving soul she is. He's on her payroll, you guys. So in my personal opinion, what else is he going to say about her? He wants to keep the gig. He wants to continue to, be in her employ. So what else do you think he's going to say? But, he popped up in both seasons of With Love, Meghan. And to me, the episodes that he was in, he just really didn't bring much. It's not like he was a chef. It's not like he was a decorator, a designer, a lifestyle guru, someone who had something to impart. She just kind of used him as, I don't know. I don't want to say window dressing because it's not even like he brought that much to it. It was just someone who was there to fawn all over her and to show us how much he loves her. Like he's this constant companion that is always around and he loves her so much. He's Uncle Daniel to her kids and all of that. And I'm thinking, well, you're a makeup artist. Why didn't she have him on the show with Love Meghan and give us a makeup artist lesson or something? I mean, even though I'm not too fond of some of the makeup looks he's done for Meghan, I mean, he's still a makeup artist. I'm sure he has some breadth of knowledge that he could impart to us, the viewer. So I don't really understand why she didn't utilize his makeup artistry talent or whatever knowledge he may have and have him show us some makeup looks, break down from start to finish how he makes up Meghan. Why not do that, Meghan? I personally think she doesn't do that because she doesn't want to show up on camera truly without any makeup on. And I did a whole video after that Jamie Kern Lima podcast interview, that video interview where her and Jamie were like, we're not wearing makeup. I'll link that somewhere. That is a bunch of hogwash. They both were wearing a lot of makeup, albeit makeup to look like they weren't wearing makeup. But point being, get the guy on your show, have him, do the makeup on you from start to finish. That would at least have been something that people would have watched and gotten into. But no, he's just someone there to fawn over her and tell her how wonderful she is. So this is the guy, this is the personality that we are dealing with. And this is the video where he breaks down his makeup look that he did on Meghan for Paris Fashion Week. Let's take a look-see, shall we? Okay, so I've got it pulled up here and he talks about his technique, the products he used, all of that. It's a little over 3 minutes, but I still think it's worth watching because I've got some opinions on it, both good and bad, to be fair. It's not all negative, but it's definitely something that we can all learn from and agree to disagree on, okay? So let's watch and then comment, shall we? Here we go.
Wanted to pop on and say thank you so much for all the love and support. It's been so overwhelming, to be honest. Like, you guys really took to this makeup. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Ben too, we're just kind of dumbfounded by all the love. But I wanted to jump on here and just kind of share what I used and how I used it. I did my usual skin prep with her, which was a lot of Tatcha. And I'm not saying that because I'm with the brand, but it's a skincare ritual that has been in my kit and I use on all my clients for years. The switch up was I actually mixed the Tatcha Longevity Serum in with the foundation, and I think that added another layer of radiance to her makeup that just made her look even more juicy and glowy. I use foundation a lot with my hands. So when I apply it, I'm applying it like a massage, like I do with my skincare. I'll go in with a brush to add more coverage, and then I use a sponge to blend it out, but I never apply foundation with a sponge, and I never apply foundation directly to the brush to the face. Regarding powder, she has powder only in the T-zone of her face. There's no loose powder all over. I just wanted to knock out the shine that happens in the middle of her forehead and around her nose. And that powder I used was a Paris Berlin press powder. They're a makeup brand local to Paris. You can only get it in Paris, I believe. And every time I'm in Paris, I always go there to shop. It's like a theatrical industry makeup store, which is awesome. Her cheek is the Tom Ford contour cream. I only use the contour. I kind of use it like a bronzer. And on top of it was the Tatcha serum stick. So it gave that added radiance to that. We just wanted to keep everything light, fresh, radiant. Just flew in, and your skin gets dehydrated from the plane. So I just wanted to bring some hydration back into her skin and just bring some life to it. Her lipstick, I had several Tom Ford lipstick options, and the one that she chose was Iconic Nude, which is like this beautiful mauve pink, and we used Makeup Forever lip liner. And that was pretty much it. Her eyeshadow was just like browns, did a halo effect, mascara. I introduced her to this MAC mascara, which she loved. It was all about like beautiful structured brows, keeping everything fresh and polished. When you come from fashion like I do, it's not about the makeup. It's about just looking beautiful, radiant, polished, skin. I would love to get her in a lip one day. Megan, if you're watching this, let's do a lip. I'd love to see you in a lip. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, you guys. So let's just talk about what I believe to be the good parts of this video. So I am in 100% agreement with him that no one wants to be noticed for their makeup. They want to be noticed for just how just fresh and lovely that they look. And he's definitely got an emphasis on skin. He talks about massaging the makeup into the skin using fingers. I would have prefaced that by saying always clean fingers, but yes, that is a very, very old school, classic Hollywood fashion makeup artist technique to apply foundation makeup into the skin after a really good skincare prep for your skin type, just massaging it in almost as you would be massaging in skincare, because that really marries the makeup to the skin. It gives a fresh look. You're less apt to have texture on the face if that happens. And especially if you're a mature woman, like I am at 51 and like how Meghan is at 44. And we'll talk about that. Don't come for me in the comments. So many of you guys are like, she's not 44, she's 51, but we'll get to that. So I like his idea that it should be about glowing and fresh and soft, luminous skin. It should be about great skincare prep. I like the idea of applying foundation with your fingers. I do that very, very often. I do like all of that, but he's talking about, you know, fresh, luminous skin. And again, there's such a thing as fresh, luminous skin, and then there's overdoing it. And there's really no excuse, in my humble opinion, for the amount of shine that woman had on her face, because he's talking about taking skincare products and blending them with foundations to give a more skin-like luminosity to the skin when you blend those two products and then apply to the face. Yes, that is true. That's great. But you can kind of stop there. But then he's also talking about going on top of it with more, you know, illuminizing products like the serum stick and all that. And I think that was probably what pushed it over the edge, when you already had a luminosity coming from the face because you mixed that skincare product and the foundation, but then to go on top of it again with another serum stick. I think that's what gave her that overly greasy, sweaty look. And he has to be conscious of it. And I don't know why he's not. He has to be conscious of the fact that you are being photographed at all angles when you are out in the public eye like that, especially at night, flash bulbs flashing. And she was in dark venues. Like that Balenciaga fashion show was a somewhat dark venue, you know, like they're trying to build a mood there. fitting that it was a dark, mood. But so every time a flashbulb goes off, it's reflecting off of everything that you've applied to the skin. So he's talking about mattifying her with his French powder that he buys, but he only applied it, he said, in the T-zone, which means your forehead, your nose, and your chin. Great, but you still need to lightly apply it everywhere, because if you don't, you are going to look like an extreme disco ball, and it's gonna flash back and it's gonna look really, really intensely shiny, because she had so much shiny product on her face. When those flash bulbs went off, that's exactly what it looked like. It just looked like too much. She looked too shiny and greasy and sweaty, in my opinion. So he really needs to dial that back. His ideas and his are great, and I do like them. I just think he went overboard in this instance, and I have noticed him going overboard with this shiny look on her in the past as well. He doesn't always get it wrong. I mean, there are some times where I think Meghan does look quite beautiful in her makeup looks, but for example, there was an appearance that she made in that blue dress. I think it was like an Endeavor Award or something, when she was still in London right before her and Harry left the family. But there's pictures of her at the podium speaking, looking down, and you can see when she looks down, it's just like a really greasy mess, because too much product was on the lid and it wasn't powdered down properly. Because sometimes even when you're using cream products, like what he did all over her face here, or what he did on her eyes during that event, you can put those creams down to give luster and luminosity, but a very, very slight powdering does have to happen, especially if you want longevity and you don't want your face looking so disco ballish. So I hope this makes sense. But in my last video where I talked about her look, I did say that she had a very subtle pinky nude lip on, and that was confirmed in that Tom Ford lipstick that he showed, which I think is a beautiful color. It's called Iconic Nude. So yeah, so that's where we are, in my humble opinion, with her makeup and my response to Daniel talking about his technique. Whatever, it's fine. He can do what he wants, but there were quite a few people who were like, why is she looking so greasy? What is happening? It's because there has to be a balance. It's like everything that Meghan does, she doesn't really listen. And I remember in that video that they posted of her Glam Squad deal, of him like doing her makeup on her Instagram stories, and it showed him, there was like a little sequence, and if I can find it, I'll show it, but there was a sequence where it showed him plumping down on his workstation in the bathroom. He put down all these really lovely dark reddish colored Tom Ford lipsticks, and he was like, he even said in this video, yeah, ultimately she went for the toned down nudie pink, but I would love to see her in a lip. What he's alluding to is he brought all these beautiful red shades of Tom Ford lipstick, and Tom Ford makes beautiful lipsticks. They are gorgeous in texture, in feel, in tone. They're gorgeous. There could have been so many beautiful reds that he could have maybe applied to her to give her just a really fresh new look, because she's so boring. She's so beige. She's always nude. I agree with him. I think that she should have chosen a beautiful red dramatic lip. It would have looked gorgeous, but obviously she doesn't listen to anybody. She does what she wants. And what I was driving at was, like everything else, she just tends to go overboard. She just goes overboard with everything. She doesn't listen to anyone. She's just always doing what she wants to do. And it's like, who knows? Maybe he is telling her to dial it back, and she's just like, I want more shine. I want more shine. Who knows? But that's just my take on the whole makeup debacle from that Paris Fashion Week appearance. That's just talking about skin. That's just talking about makeup for mature ladies. And if you guys want more makeup tutorials from me in the future, let me know. I started out as a beauty channel here on YouTube, being a makeup artist and an esthetician. I just love talking about it, especially skincare. You can catch up on those playlists, but if you want more of that type of stuff, let me know. One of my popular videos from this past spring in April was me just putting on my makeup, chatting about the latest tomfoolery that Harry and Meghan were getting up to, because yeah, those two are fools, and we need to continue to pray for them because they are on a path to destruction. But yeah, so anywho, so makeup and chatting and all that, let me know if you want to see all that. But moving on from the whole makeup thing, let's get into reading the comments. The comments from you guys about what you felt was a very dark and twisted energy that Meghan was emoting from this Fashion Week appearance. Let me read some of this to you. It was crazy. It was crazy. T.S. Bonner said, "You're absolutely correct about Meg's bringing dark energy to this event and wherever she goes." And Care Bear 834 said, "Evil was the first thing I thought when I saw her. I honestly believe she is dangerous and determined to ruin the royal family." And then Virginia Viola 5097 said, "Our beloved late Majesty the Queen called her evil. I trust Her Majesty's judgment empirically." Lowy Box said, "Evil, evil, evil, scary." And Clee2598, "You're hysterical. The devil no longer wears Prada." That one was pretty dang funny. Jen from the block 216 said, "Very dark and evil energy." Melissa Blue, the man 1825 said, "I agree with you, Jen. This was very dark and Meghan is looking hard and demonic." And Emily Allen of 8436, she had a very thoughtful comment, I felt. And she says, "As a cocaine addict for nearly 20 years, LOL, old girl is strung all the way out," meaning Meghan, in this commenter's opinion. Because this is all opinion. "It's past functional addiction. Her body is deteriorating. It's not Ozempic. It's not extreme dieting, unless you count cocaine and wine extreme. But that's all she's ingesting. She's high, strung out all the way high. I'm sober now, decade now." Well, congratulations, Emily Allen, 8436. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that you are sober. But this is a little bit of a differing opinion, a little bit of a different twist, because in that last video, I talked about how I feel she's full on 100% Ozempic, in my opinion. But it's very interesting to read these differing opinions as to why Meghan looks so frail, thin, and drawn. So something to think about. Again, all opinion. Dance teacher mom said, "Balenciaga is demonic. The ad with the children and the teddy bears with the BDSM. Also, there was a cover with Gisele Bündchen on Vogue with a red dress, and she was posed like Baphomet. And the O and the G in Vogue over Giselle's head looked like devil's horns. Not an accident. It is all evil. You are right." You know what? You know what? I mean, I gotta say, evil is not even hiding itself anymore. It's just in plain sight. And if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, I'm sorry, it's evil. I agree with everything you guys are saying. And trust me, I'm not taking pleasure in saying that I feel that all of this is dark and demonic and she's going on the wrong path. I don't get pleasure in saying that. As a Christian, I want this woman to repent and I want her to change her ways and I want her to reconcile with her family and with his family and just course correct and stop acting like a friggin' fool. This is just, it just speaks that she has her priorities so completely out of whack. It is unbelievable. Because I've said this before in other videos, there is no reason on God's green earth why her and Harry need to constantly push and shove themselves in our faces all the time. They have enough money to just go away and live quietly. Why don't you do what you told everyone that you wanted to do back in 2020, which was go off quietly, raise a family, be normal, and just cut all this garbage out? But they don't do that. They have PR teams constantly pushing themselves on us because this is what they want. This is what they want. And again, I gotta say, based on the fact that she is so incredibly insensitive to post that video of her riding in the car at night in Paris, just the fact that she's willing to do that shows you that she is so hungry for attention. It's diabolical. The way that just attention gives this woman narcissistic fuel, that is evil. That is such a distorted focus on the self that speaks to the fact that she's so self-absorbed that she doesn't have any energy to put anything out in the world other than that. All she is focused on is herself and our reactions to her. But let's not give her the type of attention that she wants. Let's look at what she's doing and point it out for what it is. Demented, dark, misguided, and just foolishness. Utter foolishness. Few more things I want to touch on. There were so many of you in the comments that in addition to talking about her dark energy, were really getting loud and vocal about the fact that you think she's closer to my age, 50, than she is 44. Here's some of the comments. Alfie88 told me, "Lady, if you're 51, then Markle's 64. Michelle Lynch 3428 said she is also 50, so you guys are the same age. Saying she is 44 is a lie. And then Magdalena Dunska 6039 said she is about 52. And then Leslie McCullough said, Jennifer, you honestly look 30 years old and a very natural beauty. I totally agree. Everything you said about Meghan, her eyes are so sunken. She looks skeletal. Well, thank you. That's very kind. But Rebecca Cassidy 1278 said she's about 50 and MM looks stoned. Great video. Wits 9391 said there was more evidence coming out that she is closer to 50. I mean, I could go on and on and on. You guys were commenting that her father has come out and said that she is closer to 50 and all that. And so many of you guys were writing this that I was like, what is going on? Is there a story somewhere out there that I missed, that Thomas Markle gave an interview or wrote something or gave a story that she's not 44? So I looked it up and I'm sorry, guys, I just have to tell you, I cannot find any reputable information or article out there pointing to the fact that Thomas Markle has definitively come out and said she's closer to 50. Everything still in the public domain says that her birthday is August 1981, which would make her 44 years old. The only stuff I'm seeing are these rando kind of videos or postings on Facebook and YouTube from channels or from people writing posts saying, oh, well, you know, he's coming out and saying that she's closer to 50. And there's one here from Royal Family Insider website talking about Thomas Markle finally speaks out on Meghan Markle age with shocking revelation. But when you scroll through the article, there's really nothing. It's just saying that, oh, he's mentioned in the past that she's been very, very touchy about her age to the point where, you know, she would get mad at him if he was talking about her age or something. So, I mean, unfortunately, for me, I haven't seen anything to prove to me that she is 50. There's a lot of you out there that are thinking she is way older than 44. And I mean, trust me, I hear you. And I even had someone who was particularly pissed at me in the comments saying, well, you saying she's 44, you know, like you have all the facts or whatever they said. And they're like, I'm out, I'm not watching this video. And I'm like, okay, sorry. I mean, I can't sit here and say that I can definitively say that she's closer to 50. I don't know. I'm just going by all of the stuff that's in the public domain. Haven't seen anything to point to the contrary. But do I believe that she is capable of lying about her age and maybe has lied about her age? Yeah, I do. But until something like that comes out, up until that point, it's all just opinion and speculation. So there's that. Okay, so moving on. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is how sweet you are. Gloria Hoffman said, wow, thought you were 40 or 41. You're doing something right. And HG121 said, just wanted to say I was shocked when you said you were 51. You look like you're in your mid 30s. You, Linda Resinger 3569, you look absolutely amazing for 51-year young lady with a heart. So the reason why I'm even reading these sweet comments to you about how a lot of you feel that I look a lot younger than I really am is because I haven't really talked about it, but underneath the videos on my channel, I've got a store, and in the store, I've linked these skincare protocols that I have written, and I just outline how to take care of your skin, whether you're dry, whether you're oily, whether you have acne, mature, all that, you name it. I go into everything, how to cleanse properly, how to exfoliate properly, what to do when you're experiencing dehydration, dryness, large pores, acne, blackheads, you name it. And I do think that the way a woman ages is highly individualistic. It comes down to a lot that you cannot control, like genes. And I'm really lucky. I had two really good looking parents who I felt aged really well. My mom is 86, you guys. And everywhere we go, once we get into conversation and start talking, people are literally aghast when she tells them how old she is. So I come from really good genes. Not gonna lie, that is something that I cannot control. But the reason why I wrote the protocols is because I realized that as someone who has been in the beauty industry for over 20 years, I've seen so much out there, especially in the rise of influencer culture, that's just fad or faddish when it comes to skincare. I don't prescribe to that. I prescribe to an idea of having simple skincare routines. I've always been really big on simplicity. I find that the more products that you end up using on your skin, especially if they are not needed or the wrong type of product for your skin type, those types of things can create more problems than they can heal or help, if that makes any sense. And I just really feel like there are so few things out there, save surgery, that really can make a difference in a bottle or a jar. A lot of it comes down to just simple techniques. And more often than not, I find out that women are over cleansing or not cleansing properly, and they're exfoliating. They're going about exfoliating in a really harsh and just damaging way to their skin. So I get into all of that in the protocols. So if you are interested and you want to check those out, please feel free to do so. I've never really even talked about my skincare protocols at any great length on the channel. I can make some videos where I go into that a little bit, but yeah, they're just basically how to build a skincare routine from start to finish, depending on what you and your skin are going through. And in those protocols, I just keep it simple. I keep it basic. It's just rock solid, tried and true skincare information. There's no fads. There's no, 10-step skincare routines in there. I think all of that actually is just a bunch of garbage. I think that the more simplistic a routine is, the better that your skin can look, especially as you get older. There are targeted products and techniques that you should be doing at every stage to make sure that you look as good as you can look. But, of course, there are things like Botox and fillers and surgeries and all of that. That, though, is going to be more extreme. In the protocols, I'm talking about day-to-day skincare and keeping your skin in good condition, because you can do all of those things, but if you're not taking care of your skin, it doesn't matter. And I've always said that the best makeup is really good skin. And the other thing that I wanted to just ask you guys, and please let me know in the comments down below, would you be interested in a YouTube membership on this channel? I don't know if I have enough subscribers at this point to support something like that, but what I was thinking of doing is making just 2 tiers, making it really simple to start out with, and maybe always leaving it simple. But what I was thinking of doing is just doing a really low, inexpensive tier for my channel to just be ad-free videos. So what that would mean is that if you like this channel, if you like the videos and you want to watch them ad-free, it would be a simple, easy way to do that and to support me. You can just, do a low tier and enjoy my videos ad-free. I'm gonna have to research all the ins and outs on how to do that, but also to provide channel members with a first look for the videos. So say to give you guys first access for half a day, whatever, so you would get the videos first. And then another thing I was thinking about was I did a skincare course called Nude Skin that I was selling on my website for a time. And it's an entire video series where I just break down how to get beautiful skin at any age. And a lot of what I talk about in my protocols, I also have in that course. And I break it all down. I talk about everything from the way our skin functions and how if you don't know or understand how your skin functions, how that is not going to serve you. It's just, I don't get too scientific, but there are things that you need to know. And if you don't know these things, you're never really going to be happy with your skin, especially if you're unhappy with it. So I go into all of it. Skin types and how skin types are different from skin conditions. I talk about how to cleanse properly, how to exfoliate properly, all that good stuff, things that I recommend for the skin, things I don't recommend for the skin. So what I was thinking was possibly providing those videos at a slightly elevated tier so that if you joined, you would have access to the entire Nude Skin video course. So just let me know if that is some things that you would be interested in. I'm also thinking about providing those videos for sale on my website as well. So just a lot of things that I'm kicking around. So just let me know in the comments if you would even be interested in a membership on this this channel. Like I said, I don't even know if that's something that I should be pursuing now or if it's something that I should be waiting on. If you guys express an interest, maybe I'll just start simple and just make them ad-free or something for now, but let me know down in the comments down below. I had so much fun with you guys. I know this video was kind of all over the place in the different things, but I really felt like revisiting this whole Paris thing from so many different angles. It's just, yeah, you just look at it from a beauty standpoint or from a what is she doing with this dark and evil energy, and why is she supporting a brand that so many of us feel is demonic, and all of this stuff. It's like all stuff we need to talk about and figure out and try to make sense of, because the enemy is out there and he wants to confuse us. But we're not about confusion. We will not allow ourselves to be gaslit, and we won't allow ourselves to be confused. We're going to get down and we're going to analyze it and we're going to make sense of all this craziness. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out for my video where I talk about her brand As Ever and why I feel it's not going to be around that much longer. And in that one, I also talk about the Keith Urban, Nicole Kidman divorce. So look out for that one. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.